So sorry, but I'm not taking off my glass.
Lockyer takes the shot. It's low. He's got it. I think he's got it.
Merlin, are you going to speak?
But for me, it was a winner. David.
Well, I'm afraid it wasn't for me, Margaret.
Thank God you're here. Grandma's been raped.
On. Welcome back to On the Air Tonight, the only free-to-air podcast that reviews free-to-air content. Today, I happen to be Tom.
And I just so happen to be Jacques.
Once again.
Once again, and always.
And always, time and time again, we're back for another week of talking free-to-air content. It's been 2 weeks.
It's been a long time.
It's been.
Every time anyone says it's been, you got to make reference to that song.
You have to. There's no other way.
Yeah, it seems like the past probably 2 months we've taken a couple gaps, but the last couple of weeks has been warranted.
Has it been a fortnight? Or did we take 1 week off or 2 weeks off?
Technically, we took 1 week off.
Technically, we took 1 week off. It just feels like two.
Yeah.
Yep. We were sick.
Yeah. Sicker than usual, dude.
A little bit sicker than usual. Too sick, in fact, to do the pod.
Fully ill.
Yeah. Fully ill.
We went to a gig. This is going to be not last Friday, but the Friday before. We went to see a band called The Jensens, Jensens. They did a tribute show to Talking Heads. Phenomenal.
Great time.
You were
phenomenal.
You almost weren't going to come.
No. Well, I wasn't invited until an hour before the show started. I mean, I was invited months beforehand, but I passed on a ticket.
It's true.
You offered me a ticket. I was like, look, man.
I've got dinner with someone. I've got something better to do. I'll meet you out afterwards, though.
Yeah. And I was like, I'll pass. I'm not that upset about it. Excuse me.
Jesus.
Last Friday rolls around, gig night rolls around, and I have no intention of going. I was having a night in on my own because sometimes I like to invest inwards.
Okay, dude.
Sometimes I don't need other people.
Sorry that I interrupted your Frank Coffee skin rub night meditation.
Don't apologize.
Listening to Sarah McLachlan.
I had a skin graft ready to go.
Okay.
Is that what those are called?
Skin graft? No, I think it's just called
when you rub the dirt on your face and
exfoliation.
Then it okay.
A skin graft is what people with 3rd-degree burns get, mate.
I was doing a skin graft on myself.
Okay. How did that go?
Well, it was interrupted.
Fucking Professor Frink doing just botched surgery on yourself.
I was having a good time on my own. I was like, I'm just gonna have a me weekend.
A meek weekend.
A meek mill weekend.
A meek weekend.
Yeah, a meek weekend.
A week weekend.
And that was going great for the first 4 hours of my weekend. I went home after work, didn't go out and do anything. I was like, this is okay. I'm not gonna say it's fantastic, but it's okay.
Dare I say your meek weekend was on fleek? And I got my sticky beak in your business.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You stuck your beak into my meek week. You stuck it right in. And it was on fleek.
And this wheel gave a little squeak.
Yeah. Because you did get the wheel moving.
Mm-hmm.
I was at home watching The Office. It was going great.
Yep.
I was just enjoying myself.
We'll also preface by saying this is how we got sick. This isn't us going, sorry we took time off. By the way, we did this.
Yeah. Oh, it's all related.
Yes.
Don't accuse us of going off.
How dare
tangent.
you? How dare you?
You know what? Let's stop it there.
You know what?
Call off the pod.
Time out.
Time out. Don't dare accuse us of not sticking to the point.
Yep.
Have we covered that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do they understand?
Do we just want to get out of here?
Should we just go? Because I can do without the implications.
Yeah. We'll go. Do you want to pack up and I'll go get the car started?
You get the car started.
All right.
We'll loop back next week.
Hey, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. We need to clean up in here. Are you all done with your podcast recording?
Mate, he's just getting in the car. He's just getting the car.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't leave when you're still here. You need to vacate the premises.
I didn't know Trademark had cleaners.
No, we do.
I've never seen cleaners in Trademark before.
We do a lot of dirty work around here, sir. So we do need to do a lot of cleaning, a
sweet.
lot of laundering, if you know what I'm saying.
You're saying this is a front. You're telling me this is a front in your own
I've said too much.
backwards way.
I've said too much. You need to go.
Never seen you in my life. I think you need to leave. Don't think you're meant to be here. I have permission from Dan.
We've been compromised. We need to go.
Dan, just so you know, there was a cleaner in here after hours. Might have been a criminal. Can't vouch
Might have been
for
a
it.
bloke from 1930s Prohibition era.
He sounded like that. Plus, he had the mustache to match. Don't give out the code as freely as you do to the door.
All right, we'll finish the story and then we'll go get a beer.
All right. I was at home. Again, all connected to how we got sick. Just watching The Office, and then Jake calls me. It's like 9 o'clock. I wasn't even drinking. I was stone cold sober, just sitting at home on my own.
You were stoned something, bro.
I was not that either.
Just accusing you.
It's the wholesome night.
You were selling the devil's lettuce to school children.
I wasn't selling or taking drugs. I was watching The Office, which is a drug in itself.
If you are looking for a good weekend, Tom usually has a quiet Friday night. You can hit him up at his house for a quiet Friday night.
Yeah, 2 bags of a quiet Friday night. Yeah.
Can I get an ounce of a chill weekend?
Very chill.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. For these terrible bits.
So, hey, that's mine. I'm at home. It's like 9 o'clock. I haven't cracked a beer. Friday night, and I'm watching The Office.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. It's about 9 o'clock because the gig started at 10, yeah?
It started at 9:45. I rang you at about 8 o'clock.
Gig started at 9:45. I get a call from Jake at 8. Already that day at work, I was like, got any tickets to that show? And he's like, nah, they're all gone. I was like, that's sweet.
Nah, dude.
Yeah.
You're out.
I was like, that's actually a good thing because I've got some Michael Scott time to catch up on.
Sad.
Yeah, and then he calls me at 8:45 and he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like,
I'm eating a Hawaiian pizza with me dog.
I'm on my own.
Watching The Office.
Is there anything more basic?
Thinking about the beach.
And I was like, I'm watching The Office by myself. I'm not going to lie. He's like, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard on a Friday night.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not sad because I'm investing inwards. He's like, I've got a ticket to this gig.
To put context in it, yeah, surrounded by my mates, getting geared up, ready to go to a gig. Call this guy, like, hey, what are you doing? I'm watching The Office. And if you're a fan of the show, you know Tom's favorite comedy show, or at least favorite office, is the UK Office.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm watching The Office by myself. I was like, oh, that's sad. And I was like, what season are you up to? And he's like, season 5. I was like, you're watching the US Office. Like, what pit of despair have I found you in?
You were
mate?
like, oh, you're not even watching you're watching the US one. And I was like, yeah. And you're like, okay, what season? I was like, season 5. It's not even good US Office. You're like, oh,
yeah, I
you're
felt
coming to the gig, dude.
I was like, do I even invite this guy? Sounds like a really depressing time.
Is he going to bring me down? And he's like, all right, the gig's in an hour. Let me know if you want to come because I've got someone else I can give this ticket to. I was like, oh, I was about to shower and masturbate and go to bed.
I'm glad you were detailed in what the conversation was. Yeah,
I wish my parents weren't listening, but it's healthy. Queensland Health told us to masturbate in November.
Hey, at least it works.
Did you see that they did that? Queensland Health released like a public service announcement saying we do not support NoFap November.
I swear, the only thing I've seen plenty of memes on it, but one of the only things that I saw as like an article was Triple J going, is No Nut November beneficial? So it's funny that a government-run radio station is releasing something to say maybe it is good for you to have a little bit of discipline, a little bit of a abstinence from fucking just pleasuring yourself constantly in a dark room.
A break from being a total hedonist.
Yeah.
So they were pro No Nut November.
I didn't read the article. I just saw it, and like the way they phrased it, like I imagined that like it was leading towards going, yep, it might be good. And
Try not to toss your salad every night.
And the same goddamn government, the same one that's trying to force this vaccine down our throat. No.
My taxpayer dollars. The Queensland Health release a thing being like, there are benefits to masturbating. It is nothing to be ashamed of. And everyone's like, can we just like get people vaccinated and fucking.
Why are you focused? Why are you focused on a meme?
Yeah, literally. Like, can everyone just figure out? Can everyone sort out their own backyard? If you want to masturbate, go ahead and masturbate. If you want to do No Nut November, why is the government telling me when and when not to masturbate?
Yeah,
That's something. I'd say that's an overreach. I'd say I don't need them in that part of my life.
Yep.
Jake called me. I was like, okay, I'll come to the gig.
I'll instead of coming in my shower.
Yeah, I will come to the gig and then come at the show.
Yep. And didn't we just?
Oh, didn't we just? So I'm like, all right, I'm sober. I need to down like 2 glasses of wine just to get ready for fucking.
Just to see me.
Well, I just had to, excuse me. I just had to catch up because you were on one already, and I was like, okay, let's go. And then did exactly that. Had a shower, didn't have a crank, had a glass of wine, went to the show, and fuck me, the Jensens. My God.
Yeah.
I hope they hear this. Reach out, Jensens.
Yeah, please. If you need more promotion or sponsorship, you have found 2 fast fans right here on the podcast. We are
Instant fans.
deep advocates. Honestly, like,
I call it an instant classic, that gig.
that was, for like, I've been to a fair few gigs in the past couple of years. You've been to your fair few as well. And I think you leaned over and you were like, this is one of the best.
This is one of the best gigs.
Yeah.
Mainly on stage presence.
Oh, mate.
Huge.
Huge start to the
If
show.
stage presence was everything, these guys are fucking better than like actual, okay, Jensens are an actual band, but these
Like
guys are
bigger
better
bands.
than these guys are better than Ballpark Music. These
Oh,
guys are
yes.
better than fucking like Smith Street Band. Like if you're just on stage presence alone,
Gusto.
my God, this guy, and it's a testament to like, I don't want to speak too candidly because you know the guy.
No,
sort of.
like, we kind of know each other, yeah.
He was your barista. So the lead singer of the Jensens, by the way, the Jensens were doing a Talking Heads night. That's why I was hesitant to go because for some reason, I'm not sure why, but never, I mean, they were before my time, so it's fine. Never was a big Talking Heads fan.
Fair enough.
Just never happened to get into them.
One of those bands where people like, if you're like, oh, do you know Talking Heads? Some people like never heard of them, or
Yeah.
oh, I know 1 or 2 songs, and then you go to a show where they play hit after hit after hit, and you're like, I know every one of these songs.
Yep. It's like, it reminds me of like when my sister saw Bohemian Rhapsody and she was like hadn't really been into Queen before, but you just hear like, We Are the Champions. And like their songs transcend.
We Will Rock You,
We
Killer
Will Rock
Queen.
You, right? It's like you have heard them all before, but you We Will Rock You. We Are the Champions is just like a sports song now.
Yep.
Like it's transcended Queen. It's just like, oh, that's the song. I didn't know that was even written by a band.
Yeah.
It's by that band.
We Are the Champions of We Will Rock You is like,
Yeah.
We Will Rock You is before the game.
Yeah.
We Are the Champions is after the game.
Yeah.
Same with like Akadaka.
Yeah. So it's kind of similar thing with Talking Heads. I was like, we work at Triple M, so they play them a fair fucking bit in the office.
And she was.
You hear that 9 times a day.
Yep.
And then you go to the gig and it's like, oh, okay, this is them.
Yes.
Oh, okay, this is them. This is them. This is them. And to discover Talking Heads, because now I exclusively listen to Talking Heads. I haven't listened to anything but Talking
Been
Heads. ever
converted.
since.
Hell yes.
And to discover Talking Heads at 27 years old is a thing of beauty.
Dude, 100%. I only discovered them, like I only properly started listening to them like about 2 years ago when I was living in West End. Housemate Will, shout out to the greatest encyclopedia of film and music I've ever met, Will Heathwood. Go check him out.
He's like Ben Shapiro, but without the autism.
Yeah, well, severely autistic, but great mustache.
But let's this one is Talking Heads, and rap is not real.
No, but for I remember going on another tangent. I remember meeting Will when he was like 17. I was like 24, and we were going to a Death Grips concert. And like, I didn't know how old he was because he was friend of the podcast, Jordan's housemate at the time. And I remember having a chat with this really mature, eloquent, charismatic young man. And I was like, oh, he must be our age, like 23, 24. I was like, oh, just out of curiosity, how old are you? He's like, 18. I was like, oh, I get it. You just know way too much for your young life.
Yeah, but how old's your mustache?
Yeah.
Yeah.
30.
30.
I picked this up off Marketplace. It's secondhand.
Been growing this since before I was conceived.
Since Pussy was a kitten.
Yeah. So that's like you discovered them at 25. I'm on them at 27.
Yeah. And I remember like finding out about them and listening and just becoming obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed. And I was like, there's a short list of bands that I really want to see in my life. Gorillaz is at the top.
Yeah.
Parcels are there.
Yeah.
Tame Impala I've never seen. I'd like to see him, but it's not like I want to see him before I die. And Talking Heads was like, I really, really need to see David Byrne perform. And in the midst of a pandemic, it's just not going to happen.
Are they still touring?
Well,
Like, were they touring just before COVID?
He's pretty old, so I think he's like mid 50s, close to 60. David Byrne's like the creator of Talking Heads.
Yeah.
So the chances of seeing him are very unlikely.
Yeah.
The best thing you're going to get is a band.
Closest thing is the Jensens, right?
Is a local band that were infatuated and inspired by Talking Heads from a young age and went out there and rocked the house.
Oh, tore the roof off it.
Really paid a proper homage to the band.
I caught up with Papk the day after. And
Shout out
Papk. And I was like, went to a Talking Heads gig last night. He was like, this is a fault of Dad's that he always does this. He's like, Talking Heads, they were around before you were even born. How would you even know about them? Like, okay, people have the ability to go back 10 or 20 years.
You've heard of Mozart, haven't you?
Yeah. You know,
Pretty sure he was around before you were around.
Mozart, how do you know him, mate?
Listen, I know the spice trade was a couple hundred years ago and paprika's been been discovered since then, but settle down a minute, mate.
Yeah. I don't need a time machine. I just need Spotify. It's all there for me.
Just the internet.
Yeah. And I mean, to his defense, he didn't have that when he was growing up. So he didn't have the ability to go back as easily as we do.
Yeah.
As we do. So I was just telling him, like, it was a packed house full of 20-something-year-olds, like full of kids just fucking vibing to Talking Heads, knowing every word. And he was like, that would make David Byrne very happy.
Dude, you alluded to him before, but Joe, the whole band was phenomenal, and they had their obstacles at the beginning. The power on the amps wasn't working, so they just had to like funk out to the drums and the synth to begin with.
Yeah.
And like they're all kind of dancing and like waiting for the power to get connected back.
Yeah.
And the whole time everyone was rocking.
Yeah.
And then the guitars and bass kicked in. And Joe was able, and the two frontmen were able to sing into the mics, and fucking the frontman was doing like mid-air splits, like running in the air, like moonwalking his hips, bro.
Bruh. Illegalize Jensen's hips.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start a petition.
Please.
Because they can't be going out to the people like that.
No. There needs to be a curfew.
Floors. There needs to be a curfew.
Curfew on those bad boys.
Yeah. Give him the Elvis treatment because my God, it's a testament to because like, what's his name?
David Byrne or Joe?
Joe. Not the tallest guy in the world. Probably like
I'd be about 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, okay. Not the like. I'm not saying he's a bad looking guy at all.
You wouldn't pick him out from a crowd.
No. If you walk past him on the street, you'd walk past him on the street and you wouldn't look twice. But when he was on that fucking stage, every woman, man, and their dog was like,
I want a piece of that.
Can we fuck?
Yeah.
It's a testament to like confidence and swagger. No matter what the fuck, you can be the ugliest cunt in the world, which Joe isn't. Want to clarify?
Yep. Okay.
Glad you about to throw that in there, I'm sure. But all I'm saying is, you can look like Ben Shapiro, but if you dance like Elvis, my God, you're unstoppable.
Yeah, and if you've got like the power to match it.
Yeah.
Like
if you can back it up. And then he picks up a fucking guitar.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, you were just singing before and dancing. Great. That's fine. Easy enough to do. Great. You're also multi-talented.
It made me realize like how fit you need to, like, you can be a performer. I think like as a musician, there's a certain level of cardio that you probably develop over years of playing, and like, especially as a drummer, you need to have a certain level of like endurance. But to go from playing to performing, like, as I said, the dance moves he was pulling out, like he was covered in sweat by the end, but he wasn't breathing hard.
No, and it would be hot.
Oh yeah,
it'd be fucking stinking up there.
Oh
like,
yeah,
there's not a whole lot of airspace.
He was turning up the heat.
Oh my God. And even like there was him, and then this is why I like them, the Jensens, because he was like cool as fuck doing his thing. And then the other guy who was on bass, I think.
He was on guitar as well.
Whatever.
They had two singers both on guitar.
Gotcha. The guy in the green shirt. Like, he had his own weird fucking style, which wasn't like as cool, but he was just kind of like, well, kind
that's-
of like magooing around.
That's like, that is what, like he...
Oh, he was David Byrne.
He strangely enough looked like, his name's Nathan, strangely looks a lot like David Byrne and was pulling out like the weird dance moves where his body looked like jello, like a secondhand car salesman.
Remember, he had the tambourine.
Had the
He was just
tambourine.
like,
Yeah. Doing the once in a lifetime dance. Yep.
Yeah. See, I didn't know, because I've seen that memed before.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the once in a lifetime video.
It kind of looks like Walk Like the Egyptian, where you're
Yeah.
just like doing the elbows up.
And it's like 4 of him in a row. And that gets memed of like the boys going out on the beers on a Friday or whatever. And it was like, the boys doing that.
Yeah. Real magoos.
Yeah, I've seen that meme before. And then I was with Papk on the weekend and we were just watching old music videos. Showed me, well, I put this on actually, and I was like, huh, I've seen that meme before. Didn't know it was from Once in a Lifetime.
Same as it ever was.
Yeah.
Same as it ever was.
So good. And such a strange, eccentric dude.
Yep.
Like a real, not a Bowie of his generation, but just
Eclectic.
very eclectic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to...
Another beer, you want a beer skin?
Yeah.
Another beer skin.
I'll have a refill.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gotten through the reason, or not the reason, but we started to uncover the reason as to why we were ill. Singing our fucking lungs out.
Yeah, Jake fucking tore his larynx out that night just from fucking belting out.
I was drenched in sweat. Like they've had to postpone the gig a couple times due to COVID. Cheers, brother.
Jibber.
They had to postpone the gig a couple times due to restrictions. So I was waiting in anticipation
ready.
for this. I was
You were
so
ready.
ready for it. And by the time it rolled around, like, had like the best time of my life, like sung along to everything throughout all the dance moves I could. And then, by the end of it, just covered in sweat, but just had like the biggest adrenaline high I've probably ever had.
Yeah, you can spot, like, obviously you're tall, so you are literally above the crowd.
Yeah.
But I went back to get a beer at some point throughout the show, and you can just see like more movement around where I know that you are.
Yeah.
Like you can spot you from a mile away. Just probably, I would argue, having the most fun of anyone in the crowd.
I'm not
no hyperbole.
I'm not a subtle person.
You're not a subtle person.
I was talking to the band afterwards, and they're like, "Yeah, we noticed you a few times." And like Nathan, the David Byrne looking bloke, he was just like, "Yeah." Anytime I looked at you, I'd get like a little boost of energy, be like, "Fucking, this guy's having the time of his life."
Yeah, you truly were.
Yeah.
You tried to give me you had like a little hemp sack.
Yeah, it was
Just a bag
it's
full
a
of
tote
things.
bag.
Tote bag. That's the word. I'm looking for.
Hemp sack.
With God knows what in it. You brought that to the gig.
I came straight from work.
Oh, okay.
Or like
so
I was
yeah.
at a work event thing. And
Okay.
then,
So you had your wallet, maybe your pouch of ciggies in there or something.
yeah,
Yeah, just some knickknacks.
the essentials.
And you were
some
just kinda
chapstick.
Get some chapstick. None of this fits in your pockets. Essentials. I'm going to Talking Heads. I've got thermal and
I've got my
Trojans.
I've got my zoot suit.
and you asked me to hold that for you at one point, and I was like,
No.
no, I will not fit. I actually did for a second, then I was like, because you like did the splits or something.
Yeah.
Like you
I don't
you
do
were-
splits,
you,
but
well, you were dancing in a manner that wouldn't accommodate the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to shed the bag for a second. I was like, all right, I'll take the bag for a second. And then you kind of just like forgot to take it back. And I was like,
yeah, for God.
yeah, I was like, okay.
I was like, I'm cutting shapes. I can't do that with one hand, like wrapped around this like tote bag.
Yeah.
And friend of the pod, Jesus, sorry. That's how you know that we were sick. Friend of the podcast, Caitlin, bless her heart, she saw that I was just muzzing out, and she's like, they were like, we've only got 2 songs left, and she was like, Jake, I'll take your tote bag. I was like, thank you, Mom. I just want to go on the roller coaster one more time.
Yeah. You have to be this tall. I'm more than tall enough to ride the Talking Heads roller coaster.
Ride the party train.
Yeah, don't worry about me, darling.
Yeah. Choo choo.
Yeah. And what a sweetheart she is.
Yep. So gig was phenomenal. We ended up going on to Brooklyn Standard after that for a few drinks.
Yeah.
And then both of us, our immune system started to deteriorate over the weekend. I started to getting a bit of a scratch in my throat, and I thought it was just because I screamed the fuck out of my lungs and my larynx on the Friday night. And then found out that you were sick. Also found out that friend of the podcast, Jordan, who was bartender at Brooklyn Standard, was also sick from the past couple of weeks. Caitlin was sick. Alice is currently sick, and so is Will. So I think we've just been sharing this bug we've gotten like around the time of Talking Heads and also the Halloween party.
Yeah. I've never really recovered from the Halloween party.
Psychologically or physically?
That's a mental flu that I have forever now.
That's on the internet. It's not going anywhere.
That's just always going to be with me, I think. This dry cough that you can't shake mentally.
Just anytime you hear someone go like, oh, it smells like vomit, you're just like, oh, just triggered.
Every time I just take a shit and smell my own shit, I'm like, oh, this reminds me of the massive shit I took.
Cringe when you shit now.
It's a bit like that. It just echoes in my ears. People go, does it smell like shit down here?
Can't be good for your intestines or your sphincter, just like tensing up anytime you poo.
Yeah, I get PTSD every time. I'll just hold that one in, push it right back up. We don't need to do that today or this week.
So that's a roundabout way of us saying that we do apologize for taking a week off, but it was with good cause. That it wasn't just me being a weakling with my... I've been fucking sick so many times this year, but...
And we've fought through the pod.
Yeah.
We have fought through.
Took a sickie off a few weeks ago, but we were both mutually sick this week.
Yes. It's harder... If one of us is sick, we can go, all right, we'll pull through. One of us will drag the other one through. When we're both crook...
Game over, dude. You're not getting content.
Nah, you're not getting content.
But you kept busy.
Look, I will say that I have no regrets, and I'm so glad that I was dragged away from Michael Scott that night.
Yep.
Such a good night.
100%. Best $30 ever spent.
$30. I didn't pay anything, which I probably still owe you money for.
Among other things.
Do I? I'm pretty sure I do owe you. I think I sent you that. We'll take this off air.
Tom owes me money for toilet paper because it's a high commodity during COVID.
We'll sort it out off air. I thought I did send you that.
I know where you live.
Okay. I was just saying that we saw a band called Babe Rainbow who were fine like a couple of 8 months ago, and they're a good band.
Time out.
Just fucking again. When you're comparing frontmen, as soon as I got in there, I was like, these guys are better than Babe Rainbow. Hands down.
High energy.
High energy.
Babe Rainbow are a great band. Love seeing them perform. That night when we saw them, they lacked the gusto that they had the first time we saw them. And also, yeah, I completely agree with you that like the performance that Jensen's covering Talking Heads put on was light years better than what Babe Rainbow did.
Yeah. And you have to give it to Babe Rainbow. They're playing original stuff. Sure. Like that's a whole...
That we know of.
That holds, unless I've jacked it. But Jensen's are covering a band. But you can't fake it. You can't fake gusto on stage. And when I was watching Babe Rainbow, I was like...
Oh, it was lackluster.
I was like, this guy, I can see that he's trying to do a thing that he's not.
Yeah, he was playing Mr. Cool.
He was playing Mr. Cool. He was trying to be Michael Hutchins, and he was so fucking not. And I'm not here to talk shit on Babe Rainbow. They were fine, but just like Jensen's, it just coursed out of him. It was coursing through his veins and it just poured out of him. And I was like, that guy's not trying to be anything that he's not. It's all coming naturally, and he's not overthinking it. As soon as someone's overthinking it, you just see it fucking on their face and in their body.
There's a difference between
Isn't it crazy?
Trying to be cool and just being
and
cool.
just being cool. Like you can just, it's this intangible thing that you can just see.
You can feel it.
You can feel it. You can just spot it on someone. It's like, even like amongst, when you're with a mate and he like gets amongst a bigger group of mates or just some other people he
puts
doesn't
on
know.
a front.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, he's being the cool guy again.
Yep. He's trying to be really politically correct
Yeah.
and like not trying to put like a step wrong, like not trip over to it so he looks like an idiot or say something wrong.
Or he's like pulling out some cool anecdotes that he doesn't usually tell and he's putting a lot of mayo on that. Like I know that that's not how that goes. It's like you just see, and that's a different story, I guess, because you know the guy. You know what they're normally like. But for someone you've never met before,
and to see right through their facade,
see right through it, it's like people can just everyone has a bullshit detector.
Yep.
Everyone has their own little fucking bullshit detector.
100%. So with that being said, what have you got like an idea? Like try and push the greatest memory of our life in recent times out of your head.
I'm with you.
Is there another
hard to do.
is there another gig that comes to mind or a performance that like really like just jumps out to you, either for being phenomenal, like life changing, or one that kind of just like that sticks in your head for like the wrong reasons?
So like the best gig of my life and the shittest gig of my life.
Either or, if there's one that sticks out to you.
I'm biased, but like Smith Street Band,
You love Smithies.
specifically Will Wagner's solo show at the Trifford.
Mm.
But I love his entire catalog. But like seeing that for me was like incredible. But then that's a guy with an acoustic guitar. Like it depends what you're after. There's also like I saw Coldplay at my first fucking at my first ever gig. Where my first ever band that I saw was Coldplay.
Shout out to the McLaughlins. Big fans.
Yeah. And this was on their Viva La Vida tour before they were fucking. I used to rule the world.
Chris
Martin.
I was gonna say Chris Pine, but that's a different Chris.
That's an actor.
There's a lot of famous Chris's.
It is hard when someone asks you like, what are the fucking like, what are the best gigs you've ever seen? I've seen Killers; they were good.
Do you know
What's
what?
the best gig you've ever seen?
It's funny because like, being that close to Jensen's, I think made a difference. Like being right up close
Very
and seeing,
personal,
very personal and being that intimate with them. Like it was, like you felt like part of like what they were performing. It was that's why it felt so palpable.
Yeah.
A gig that I think would have been up to that scratch if we were that close was the band we saw earlier this year at River Stage.
Oh, Soho.
Soho.
That would have been sick.
Violent
But
Soho.
We were COVID restricted on the hill.
So we had to
Couldn't get close.
we had to spectate more than experience it, which best gig I've ever spectated was just seeing those guys put on a really tight performance and like 5,000 people in unison singing every lyric like word to word.
Yeah. In Brisbane, hometown, giddy up.
Yeah.
That was a really good gig.
Phenomenal gig.
But you just want to fucking get close.
Yeah.
We're looking at, it's like going to the theater and sitting in the 300th row. You know, like you're getting them on the big screen, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And it was also, Jensen's was like, we were close, but it wasn't a packed house.
No.
You could still move.
It was the bright side, so there would have been like 300 people there.
Like I've seen like Lupe Fiasco or like Kendrick Lamar probably that close before, but you're just in a fucking...
It's also a bigger stage.
sardines.
It's like a bigger stage as well. So there's a separation between security and the stage.
Yeah.
So you're still like 30 meters away from the performer.
Yeah. At the best of times.
You can't,
when
like-
they're at the front of the stage.
There's no point where you can have eye contact with the performer and be like, hi.
Yeah. Julia Jacqueline was a really fun gig.
Yeah, okay.
That was like a daytime drinking gig at Falls. We went and I just brought a flask in and fucking sent it.
Absolute queen.
That was really fun, yeah.
Yep.
Julia's a good performer. What about your worst?
Shit, sorry. That was
Is that your worst?
that was guttural. Yeah. Me coughing into a mic was
It's
the
the worst
worst
gig I've ever been to.
shittest gig, mate. The guy couldn't even fucking cough to save his life.
With some gusto.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not many gigs that performances that stand out where I'm like, those guys sucked. The ones that aren't as good kind of fade to the memory.
Exactly.
I've had times where I was really excited for an act and I had a shit time, like when I saw Mac DeMarco at Laneway.
Really? I haven't seen him, but I'd love to.
Awesome performer, but every man and his dog wanted to go there. So like we got there early. We saw Father John Misty perform on the stage, which was sick. So going from that, you know Tyrone.
Yeah.
Just to dox him, but another friend of the podcast. He was like big Father John Misty fan back in like 2018, 2019. And I remember we were there and I was like, I put my arm around him and I was like, I love you, man. Having such a good day. And he was like, don't fucking talk. I've waited so long to see this. Don't fucking talk to me. I just want to listen to it, okay? I was like, all right, man. Enjoy. I'll go find someone else. I'll find someone else to bond with then.
I don't want to enjoy this with friends. I want to be on my own.
And it was like the most, if this guy that I'm talking about, he is one of the sweetest human beings you'll ever meet.
It's out of character.
Does anything for his mates, super friendly, super hospitable. To do that, just to arc up, like, don't talk to me, don't look at me, don't breathe near me, don't breathe me oxygen because I'm watching FJM.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So we saw Father John Misty, and then Mac DeMarco started, and like the army's just packed in, and people just, you know, when you've been in those moshes where like it just becomes like a rip in the ocean where you're
It's
getting
just a
pushed
tide.
one way, and you
Yeah.
can just lift your legs off the ground and you move 30 meters one way, 30 meters back.
Yeah.
It was shithouse, and it was like peak of summer as well.
That's crazy for a Mac DeMarco gig.
He was huge. It was like just after he brought out this old dog.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It would be. It just seems not obviously I assume it wasn't moshy, and did it chill out a bit? Like when
Kind
it
of,
started
but
playing?
it was still like didn't have a good time because I was
Yeah.
pressed up against people, and the people in front of me were going, "Can you stop pushing?" I'm like, dude, do you think I'm the one pushing with the weight of 1,000 suns on you right now?
Yeah. Hey, you big dog. Can you stop putting 100 kilos of pressure on my lungs?
It is just to jump off the topic of gigs or any specific gigs, but gigs in general, it sucks being the tall guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's good having a vantage point if you're up the back, but as soon as I move close, especially if it's already crowded and I'm cutting in front of people to get closer to the stage, straight away it's like I'm ruining the poor 5'2" girl behind me's night because I'm just standing in front of her. And guess what? I'm going to be cutting shapes pretty soon.
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, it's
going to be wider.
I'm not just going to be standing here. Like, I'm going to be slut dropping. I'm going to be doing robots and all sorts of stuff.
As you go up there, you should be like, you think this is bad? It's going to get way worse.
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
What you should do, have you ever had someone approach you from behind and say, hey, can I go in front of you?
I've had two situations like that where, not specifically two, but two different types of situations happen where one was person going, hey man, can't really see. Do you mind if I cut in front of you? And I'm like, yeah, sweet. You're so polite. That's fine. Just go. Or if they're like, oh, I just got disconnected from my mates. Can I go? It's like, yep, cool.
Yeah.
I've had people go like literally abuse me just for being like, you're too fucking tall. You're cutting off the stage. I'm like, move then.
Yeah.
Like I'm
go
not
elsewhere.
I'm not apologizing just because I've got better genetics than you can.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry that your mum didn't give you full cream milk.
Have you seen my feet while we're at it? Lucky I'm not doing a handstand because then you really couldn't see.
I'll be blocking out the sun.
Yeah. You'll be eclipsing over here.
This is the Tolar eclipse.
My mate Cameron, I have had that. I've been with him at gigs
Huge.
before.
Not only my height, 6'4", but huge shoulders
Fridge.
and massive head.
Yeah. Oh, his head is what blocks out the sun.
Yeah.
If you ever seen an eclipse, it's because Cameron stood up.
Yeah, it's because Cameron's yawning.
Yeah. Yes. I was at the weekend with him, I remember, and
The act, not
the act,
Yeah.
yeah. Probably on a weekend as well,
Okay,
but
very
the
nice.
artist, the
bit of
weekend.
inception there.
And we were asked multiple times from behind, like, oh, can we go? Because I was next to him. You know, I'm not as tall as him. Probably didn't help though. Girls were like, can we go in front of you? And Cameron just, no. No matter how polite they are, he's like, nope.
Oh,
I'm not
dude. Were you
moving.
pretty close as well?
Close-ish.
Yeah.
I would like within the first probably like
20 rows?
20 rows of people. He just goes, no. And then I was like, bruh, you're hectic with your response to that. He's like, man, I've been to that many gigs when people ask you, and if you say yes to everyone, you end up at the back of the crowd. I'm not apologizing for being tall. And I can't fault it.
You don't have to move back. Move to the side so they can get in front of you, and then
Yeah.
it's their problem trying to squeeze between you and the next front row of people.
Exactly. But it's like, it's also just fucking with your spot. You know, when you're in a crowd like that, when you're in a mosh, you just get comfortable between behind a guy you can
You get
see above
40 centimeters in
you're
behind.
like, sweet, I'm settled. So if someone's like, can I just go in front of you? It just fucks up that whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like
The feng shui
no.
of the mosh.
Yeah. And then I remember they were just cussing us out from behind. They're like, I was wearing like a stripy shirt. They're like, you fucking tall guy in stripy shirt. Just like, okay, dude.
Good roast.
Yeah, you got me.
Do you guys, we can ask the band to pause if you want to go write some better roasts and then
Yeah.
come back.
I'll give you, you can take the mic home with you.
Yep.
It's an Eminem fucking reference if anyone gets it.
Shout out.
8 Mile.
Big fan of the pod.
Big fan of the pod, Eminem.
There's a story that pops to mind of you, Nick, and Cam. I think was it at a Smithy's gig? Was it a seated gig that you guys were at?
Oh yeah, yeah. There is.
Do you want to share that, or is that that a bit dicey?
No, we can share it. If I can recall it, it was a little while ago. We were at Smith Street Band.
Yep.
It was me and Nick and Charlie. Cameron wasn't there, or it was just me and Nick. I think it was just me and Nick.
A lot of shout outs this episode.
A lot of shout outs because if you haven't figured it out, no
We
TV
didn't watch
this week.
anything.
We didn't watch shit, but the Jensens.
We're finally transitioning away from just not talking about free to air.
Does the Jensens count as free to air content?
It counts as liberating to my lungs, but not free to air.
Okay. Like that. Like that. I was at a Smith Street Band featuring the Brisbane Symphony Orchestra gig. Strings attached.
Phenomenal.
So good. It was such a good night. For reference, they just released I Still Dream About You, which is a single from the night with video.
Oh, okay.
They haven't released any video from the night before, just recently.
From the Triffid gig.
From the Triffid gig.
Cool.
Fantastic. From the one that we were at.
Yep.
Anyway, me and Nick were just sitting there and we got sat next to some other just like punters like us. Like it was a bit of an eclectic crowd because there's an orchestra there. So some older crowd, there were some females, a lot going on.
And it's a different energy when it's seated. So like
Very different.
was it like 8 to a table or 4 to like
Not tables, just rows.
rows? Okay,
So
right. Gotcha.
we're in rows, yeah, just fucking packed in rows.
Like a school assembly.
Like a school assembly.
Yeah.
And me and Nick just got sat next to like two other guys about our age. They were like on sports bet next to us, like watching the footy. So a bit of fucking camaraderie was made.
Yeah.
Before everything happened.
Best
We're like,
mates for that
yeah,
2 hour
we're
session.
Like you like Smithies and you watch sport. Sweet. Okay,
yeah.
we're
You
good.
you're a degenerate gambler and you love getting on the piss.
Yeah, and doing pub choir.
You idolize Will Wagner. We
Yeah.
can get along.
This is looking in the mirror right now. And we were just fucking like, it was seated gig, but they were serving beers. You could get pissed. You feel in a seated gig, I always feel more responsibility to like turn up for the performer because everyone's so fucking placid. You kind of want to like let them know that you're vibing a bit.
Yeah.
Or just like really be into it. So
Could you imagine like you're performing and like
Yeah.
you just pull your heart out in the first song and you just hear,
yeah. And everyone's just sitting there. And it's like you can show your appreciation so much easier when you're standing and it's a standing gig. And I know it's all COVID, but like he has to watch us all just sitting there, again, like a school assembly, legs crossed.
So you gave a
with
standing
our glasses on.
So you gave a standing ovation after like the first song? Or?
Didn't give a standing ovation. We were just fucking ripping and tearing. We were just like belting every word out.
Okay, cool.
Just singing every fucking word as loud as we could. And the girls in front of us didn't like it. They turned around and they were like, hey, can you guys shut the fuck up because we're trying to listen? And whenever I tell this story, I'm like, am I the bad guy? How am I coming off here? I've told it multiple times to different people and I get different reactions.
Yeah.
So you all be the judge. But the girls in front of us were like, can you guys shut the fuck up? And they weren't nice about it either. The way they asked was rude. And the other guy, like I didn't say a whole lot, but the other guys that we were with, I realized was like a alternate universe, more savage, punter, Smith Street Band version of me because they were just
Chad.
like, they were just like, fuck off, turn around. Like,
Don't look at us.
Gave it to her, just like, it's a fucking concert, we're allowed to sing. Rah, rah. And so they fucking left us left us alone for a little bit, and then they kept turning around through the thing. And then eventually we were just like, you know what? Like, get fucked. We're allowed to sing at a concert. I get it, we're behind you and I'm in your ear, but it's like, I'm not singing directly into your fucking ear.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, if I know every word to the song, I'm not going to sit here and hum it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pissed and I'm at a Smith Street Band gig.
Sit
Like,
there with your legs crossed, just,
And, you know, it's, what do you think? Am I right? Is the girl right or am I right in that situation?
Firstly,
Or
who
is
do,
there a grey?
who do you think Wagner appreciated more? The people sitting there with their backs turned, telling off the people behind them, or the people behind those people going, like, singing every word?
Yeah.
It's a device. I know it's been a divisive anecdote that you've told in the past because some people have been like, you guys were the dicks. You were four blokes ganging up on two girls just trying to tell you to be quiet.
Yeah.
If it puts things into context, how bad I've been at shows. There was a band, Krangbin.
Jesus.
Do you know?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't. Just the name alone, I was like, okay.
You'd know some of their songs. They were pretty
Krangbin.
or Krungbin, like it's KHRUANGBIN.
Right. Okay.
Really cool music. Very cinematic, like atmospheric guitar, bass, and drums. It's like if Gorillaz kind of visually, if they weren't cartoons, it was live action.
Gotcha.
But with or like minimal singing. Like it's all very like lounge music.
Instrumental, yeah.
Yeah. I went to one of those gigs pretty off my face. And one of my housemates' mates who I hadn't seen in like a year or two was there, and he came up and I was like, Julian, how you going, man? And we put arms around each other and he's like, so how you been, dude? And we were like,
having a yarn.
Literally like at this point, like, so how you been, dude? Yeah, fucking real good, man. Oh, I'm so keen to see, how good is this? And
How good's this music we're not listening
you guys
to? Right now?
and like someone turned around, they're like, can you guys shut the fuck up? You guys are so loud, you're yelling at each other at like a chill, like really like, it was like one of their quiet songs as well. So like at least 10 people would have been like, oh, you guys are the worst people in the building right now. So to put it into context, I was in the wrong that night because I was trying to have chit chat with someone during a gig when it was quiet. If you're at a rock concert and you're singing along word for word, you are not the one in the wrong.
No. I've told that exact story, that Smith Street Band story before, the way I did just then, thinking it would go great. Like, can you believe these fucking girls in front of us? The gall on them to turn around and tell us to shush. And then I've just gotten a response of like, I think it's quite irresponsible for like 4 men to gang up on like 2 girls in front of you. I was like, this is the wrong crowd, isn't it?
And look, we'll preface by saying we'll never understand what it's like to be a woman or a small
that it wasn't 4 men either. It was just me and one other guy. Sorry, but continue. Yes,
we've never been in that position where, you know, women can talk about how they might feel like they're, you know, being attacked by like there's a lot of things we don't ever think about. Walking home alone at night. All those sorts of things. This is not one of those situations where it's like I feel threatened. It's like you turned around and you accosted me.
Yeah.
I'm going to accost you right back.
Yeah. And maybe I was accosting your eardrums from behind. But how about you open yourself up to being accosted by the band at the front? Don't let my accosting overtake the accosting of Will Wagner up there on stage.
You know what it was? It was the atmosphere set by a seated gig. It gives people the opportunity to go, no, it's a movie theater.
Yeah.
This is not a mosh, which it would have been. It would have been a romping mosh if it was a standing gig.
The Fortitude Music Hall, my God.
Was it Triffid or Fortitude Music Hall?
It was Fortitude Music Hall with the symphony. Triffid was...
Oh, that was a solo
gig.
Gotcha.
It was at the Fortitude Music Hall.
Yep.
And which it turned into at the end a fucking mosh because everyone was so itching to get out of their seats, except for the girls in front of us. Who, like, dude, it was the best thing to see. Because on the last song, there was someone like... Some just fiends, some Smith Street Band stands walking around just like, for the last song, we're all going to get up. Let's all fucking get up.
That's sick. They would have loved that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's fucking do that. So, like, a lot of people at the end of it were out of their chairs and just, like, I ended up, like, we all not rushed the stage, but, like, ran up to his feet and we're just like, I guess restrictions don't matter. Everyone just went for it and just ended up under Will.
There's a dozen seckies in the building. They're not stopping 2,000 people.
No. And there weren't even seckies there telling us to sit down. Like, people were allowed to stand in their seat. People, like, I stood up for a little bit. But then at the end, it was like, all right, all bets are off. Let's fucking go.
Yep.
For the encore, we're allowed to stand. That seems like a fair trade. And we looked back and those 2 girls were still sitting there with their arms fucking crossed as we were just living the dream under it. I was like, that is the dichotomy.
Some people want to embrace a good time and some people just want to participate.
Yeah. Some people want to watch on and tell you why they're not having fun.
And you know what?
Why you having fun affects their fun.
No matter who was in the right and who was the wrong, you guys had the better time.
Oh, yeah.
Even if in some people's opinions, you ruin those spectators' nights.
Yeah. It's
But you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. You know, like that. They go home and tell that story to their friends and family. They go, these fucking guys behind me were fucking this and they were fucking that.
But how was the gig? You're not listening to me.
Well, first off, I had to go outside and that's hard. And because I have to walk there on my own as a single white female. like, I'm sure there'll be a fucking problem there if it's after 9 o'clock.
You could have a problem with that comment, mate.
You can cut that out.
Nope. I'm not cutting anything.
But I was just, I had to go there and be a victim, and then I had to catch the bus and be a victim, and then at the gig I was a victim. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it was. It was professional victimhood.
Safe to say you had a good time.
I had a great time.
And it's safe to say that...
That's how we got sick. That's how we got into all this from going to too many gigs.
And to make a short story long,
the cleaner's still here.
Came back in.
he's back. He's sweeping up the rubbish.
So, speaking of performances, we've had a couple of people comment on our recent performances. Our previous episode, which came out nigh on half a month ago. Episode 43, which was that Love Island?
It was Game of Clones.
Game of Clones.
Remember that
sorry.
shit show?
Yeah. Oh God. I need the Men in Black just like button thing just to erase that
the
from my memory.
eraser.
The vape.
Yeah, the vape light. Look right into the fucking I get. We have 2 reviews of Game of Clones episode 43.
We do. One who's a residential comforter, someone who has become as much of the show as our rambling has. Another
Lance Farrelly, part Australian, part Chinese.
That's correct.
Sorry, were you not done with the intro?
No, please.
What else were you going to say about the man?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, I'll just read out his review. How about
You
that?
can do whatever you want, Boo.
You're on your own here, dude.
The previous anecdote would
Clearly are.
demonstrate that you're going to do whatever the fuck you want, no matter what the people who are telling you to do.
You're going off script.
Going off the grid.
That's what 2 wild yaks will do to you.
Oh, God.
This is from part Australian, part Chinese review of episode 43, Game of Clones. In 1985, I was driving home drunk from the pub. Random breath testing wasn't around then.
Okay.
And thought I should stop and get something to eat to help sober me up. Pulled up at a takeaway place to get a burger, but couldn't get the words out properly as was too pissed.
Was a different time.
Apologized to the guy and left, drove home.
Didn't even get food. Okay, dude.
So was too drunk to order a burger, but okay to drive. Made sense at the time. So I'm not judging Tom. As long as he didn't cry, of course. Game of Clones sounds truly awful. From the sublime of Rick Donald to this shit. Thank God we have Tom and Jacob to guide us. 5 stars.
In context to him talking about your debauchery at the party.
Yes, that was in response to my vomit and poo fueled affairs.
Yep.
So that's Dad going, hey, I'm not ashamed of you, son. I've done things like that as well. It's
Guess
like,
what? I nearly killed people trying to order a burger. How's that for a catch line?
You cleared out a whole dance floor and pooed in the toilet? Well, I confused a McDonald's employee.
I drove through a fucking playground
So apples and oranges.
in my Toyota, in my 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser, trying to get a cheeseburger.
I love that he drove up to the thing, couldn't get the words out, and then just left.
What state do you have to be in where you can't order?
You can't get the words out?
Yeah.
Cheeseburger?
You're that.
Can't say that.
Let me just say, Lance might have not just been on the beers that night.
We don't know.
We don't know. We'll never know.
Don't worry, I'll question him about it.
You'll interrogate him for another 2 hours.
But to not be able to say, I want a cheeseburger with fries, you have to be pretty pissed. To not be able to just get some sort of order out, even for them to guide you through it, you know?
I'm trying to put myself in I'm trying to put myself
Sir?
in shoes.
Sir, sir, this is McDonald's. What would you like?
Can I? Oh, sorry, 1 second.
Sir, are you okay? This is McDonald's. Can I place your order?
Oh, I got work in the morning.
It's not we don't have that.
Oh, where's my kids?
We don't have, that's not a number 2. Would you like a number 2?
I'm gonna have to go.
Okay. Just drive on through, sir. Just drive on through. Are you okay to drive?
I want bees chugger. Bees chugger.
You don't make sense. You're going to have to leave.
All right, we're gonna get the police here.
I
All
don't
right,
understand bees sugar.
I'm gonna be right to. You know what? I'll just drive away.
You know what? I'm okay to drive. That's what I mean. To not be able to say I want a quarter pounder with chips, but to still be able to drive? Fuck me.
It's got to be like how many infants their first word was cheese, but actually probably not that many.
But like, you know, year 5.
Yeah.
You can say, sorry, 5 years old. You can say it.
3.
3.
4.
I'm saying cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Depending on the household you grew up in.
Feed me.
Filet of fish.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I learned.
Come on. Happy Meal.
Yeah, Happy Meal.
Just say Happy Meal.
Say Happy Meal. I want a Happy Meal. If you're that pissed, you resort to your
or
youth.
look at the picture in point.
Yeah. Oh, sir, there's no cameras out here.
Oh, he was in drive-through, right?
He's in drive-through.
Okay.
Just try looking at me.
It's like the it's like the fucking Matrix scene. Well, Mr. Anderson, how are you gonna order a burger if you're too shit-faced?
Oh, his mouth closes up. Yeah. How can you speak when you don't have a mouth? Is that the real line?
Yeah.
Is that something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, fuck you and give me my call.
Yeah. How do you make a phone call if you don't have a mouth?
What use is a call to you, Mr. Anderson, if you don't have a mouth?
That is the worst writing in an action film. That his mouth fucking
I don't know. I
heals up.
I think it's pretty good, dude.
It's Wachowski sisters, dude. So that's one review. And I think Dad's going to regret ever telling me that story because now I can use it against him.
Absolutely.
I can never get too pissed.
Yeah. But he also, Smoked Paprika sounds like the type of bloke who's like, oh, you think that's my worst story? You haven't heard anything yet, mate.
He's actually, a lot of old codgers sit there and will tell you story after story of like, mate, fucking 1974. Like, they'll just have a piss story.
Today's people or today's beer doesn't taste the same as it did back in my day.
Mate, the way that the nights we used to have at the Wallaby Hotel, fuck me, mate.
You kids can't get away with anything.
Yeah, like Dad's not one of those guys who just has a million war stories.
Me and my mates bludgeoned a police officer.
Yeah. Whoa. The shit we used to do, mate, we'd fucking see women walking home and we'd just fucking kidnap them. That's all we do, chuck them in the boat.
And then next day we'd strap up for the Wallabies. It's like, okay, I'm wondering where this anecdote's becoming fiction more than...
I did 3 Long Island iced teas. You don't have to one-up me with a kidnapping and a murder. It's like...
Oh, you got someone to buy you a cocktail, did you?
Yeah. You kids think you're tough these days. I used to do meth out of my mum's garage.
I planted dynamite in a hospital.
I went to the cancer ward and gave them all the finger. What do you think of that, huh? I just did
ask what you wanted for Christmas, Dad.
Just did wet pussy shots. That's all I did. Like, I get that you guys are cooler than me, but yeah, never did the cancer. Fuck yous.
Love the back of my day, cool. Can't wait till I'm that age.
Yeah. What do you reckon you're going to be throwing out when you're 80 with your back in your days? Have we done them yet? Or are they still yet to come?
It sucks that, like, I know people that are, like, 5 or 6 years younger than me, and like, I've pulled that before. I'm
you
like...
do them back in my days too.
Or more so, like, when you get, like, when I've heard, like, 19-year-olds that I've worked with, and they're like, oh, man, I'm so hungover. I had, like, 10 beers last night. And I'm like, wait till you get to my age.
Hold on. I put a stick of dynamite in a lady's mailbox.
You call that hungover?
Okay. You ever seen the butterfly effect? I did in real life.
I called it a bomb threat to an airport after fucking drinking a bottle of hand sanitizer.
And I went to work an hour later.
And I got employee of the month.
Hey?
You're sucking about
You're
drink.
like, all right, this fucking old loser keeps telling me how he murders people. I just had 10 beers last night.
It's not even a flex, dude. This is just incriminating yourself.
It's not a competition, and you're a criminal.
But yeah, haven't quite gotten to that age yet where I'm going back in my day.
Yeah. When we're 80, will we be telling stories that have already happened to us, or are we still yet to make those stories?
I think there'll be some stories.
I think we've got a few under the belt. Yeah. I'd say like your 20 to your 27 is pretty much when you make those stories.
Yeah. And look, honestly, we'll save those stories for another episode of On the Air Tonight.
Yeah, we will. We will. While we're on the Air Tonight, speaking of On the Air Tonight, someone else reviewed On the Air Tonight.
Beep, 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 beep. Coming in from California.
Weighing 438 pounds, sandy blonde hair.
It's Christian, a.k.a. the Animal Chin. This might not make any sense, but it will in a moment. We had an international review, ladies and gentlemen. Technically the first, because this is someone that we don't know who's just doing living abroad. This is someone who's a complete stranger to the podcast who found us by complete chance.
Don't know him.
Who took
This isn't one of our mates. This isn't my dad.
No. We'll read you his review and you can make heads or tails of his of the context. Christian, aka the Animal Chin, as I described, here commenting in San Clemente, California. This is my new favorite podcast that I found while looking for a review cast of the Alaskan Bush People because my wife and I are obsessed with it. Not finding an episode by episode podcast for ABP, that's Alaskan Bush People for you laymen, was disappointing. And in parentheses, I may start that potty now that I know there isn't one. But I found this gem. That was 2 weeks ago and I'm almost through the whole run. This podcast is like surfing with my idiot friends without having to surf with my idiot friends. Tom and Jake have my type of humor, where they start broad and go so far down a rabbit hole and continue that regard until they are the only ones laughing.
Oh yeah.
I have learned so much about trash TV to fill my time with, and honestly have some recommendations if I knew about them, how to get these boys viewing American channels. 10 out of 10 puke-covered shoes and bad removalists. Would recommend Christian the Animal Chin. Round of applause, mate.
From San Clemente, California.
Big shout out to you, mate. I think you showed
Christian.
You told me about this. I remember there was, I think about a week ago, you were like, dude, have you seen that comment on episode 43? And my initial reaction was pessimistic. I was like, oh, someone's made a complaint, haven't they?
Yeah, because it was large. You saw the size of it.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, it's a fucking novel and someone hates us.
Someone's going to be like, oh, this, like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I fucking hate
Yeah,
you.
you fucking this and you fucking that.
You need to shut the fuck up.
You guys need to talk less. And here's an 800-word essay on why I don't
Why you need to use less words? How ironic.
Actually, you guys need to use less words. I'm going to use more words to tell you why you need less of them. Okay? Any more stupid questions?
Respect my opinion. I'm online. I'm a keyboard warrior.
I have a computer and a keyboard and a YouTube account. That makes my opinion valid.
One of my comments was liked by someone with 3K followers.
I've got blue ticks. I've got blue tick people liking my comments.
I'm verified.
Verified, okay? It wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
It wasn't that. It was something entirely different. And then I showed him it. We were at sushi at lunch. I was like, dude, have you seen this thing? Maybe you were having a rough day at work. Maybe it was fine. But when I showed you, you had a similar reaction to me. You were like, well,
I was moved.
you were moved.
I was moved.
I could visibly see it. I had to ask you, bruh, are you okay?
TAC, the Animal Chin.
The Animal Chin, Christian, the Animal Chin. Did he give us a surname?
No, he didn't dox himself that hard.
Christian, a.k.a. the Animal Chin.
Unless he put it on his... Oh, Christian Reese.
Christian Reese is a YouTube channel. Bro, we see you.
We see you. And we're glad you see us.
And I love it. It means a lot.
It was a...
Christian, it means a lot.
It's as if you just got like a couple of football pumps with like little needle attachments to them, put them right into our nuts and just inflated our balls.
Oh, and like one in each of our ears as well to make the heads a little bit bigger as well.
Pumped our balls and heads up.
I can
real
barely
big.
walk now, Christian.
You went big mode.
I went, Christian, you went big. You took us into Rebel Sport. Australian joke, you might not get it because you're in San Clemente, California. Sports store, think Dickies Sporting Goods in America.
Foot Locker.
That's global because we global now. We got to make our references global. You took us into Foot Locker. You said, hey, can you pump up these testicles? And they said, yeah, absolutely. Now the boys can't walk.
Yeah.
We can't surf. I know you like us.
Do you want a God complex that?
Supersize?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, do you know number one with that? Oh, sorry, you mean make my head twice as big too? Yeah, I will. Dude, that's so cool that you're living in California. It makes our day. Genuinely, we take the piss, all jokes aside. This is why we do what we do.
Yeah, 100%. We never envisaged reviewing Australian content as something that would ever like be looked at from someone who is foreign and go, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Even someone Australian to go, yeah, that's cool.
It is, yeah.
For someone we don't know, a stranger to find us and go, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Didn't see that.
100%. So thank you so much, mate. And if you just happen to be someone who has the moxie to actually, if you're not real Christian, and this was someone who fraudulently made an account and pretended, You care so much about us, so thank you anyway.
I love that crossed your mind as well. The self-doubt in us.
How good's the imposter syndrome?
Yeah, the imposter syndrome.
My dad figured out how to make an extra email.
The inwards tall poppy syndrome of cutting ourselves down. No one overseas could actually like us. It's just a troll. We both thought it. We'd never spoken about it together to that point.
But imagine how much it would cut you deep.
Yeah. Some fucking troll who lives in like Brisbane.
South Bank.
Yeah, lives in South Bank is like listening right now going, these boys think they're global. They're not fucking global.
I'm boosting their confidence and they don't even know it.
And I have the power to take it away. They could just tell us right now, yeah, boys, it was me. I live in South Bank.
But let's live to fight another day in fantasy land.
I reckon.
And believe that someone from a fucking different corner of the planet.
I picture him so handsome. I reckon he's a rig.
Christian Reese?
Christian Reese?
Surfing idiots?
Okay, dude.
From California?
How are you not a movie star with a name like Christian Reese?
Why are you married and why can't I fuck you?
Yeah. Did he say he's married? He
Yeah,
did say he had
him
a
and his wife, yeah.
Dude, he's so hot. You can tell already. You know what I picture him as? I picture him as reformed Jonah Hill with like the blonde hair, the beard.
More ripped.
Living in Cali. Yeah, but way more ripped.
Yeah.
I'm just talking like vibe.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just talking aesthetic.
Couple of sticker tattoos.
Yeah,
long
yeah.
curly hair.
Yeah, the cover of Vogue.
Yeah.
Christian Reese, dude. That's got to be an alias.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude, but you sound hot to me. And
Tom's in love.
and if you ever want to hook up next time I'm in America, just let me know.
Or if you're not Christian Reese, if you want us to be infatuated with you, we do encourage you to leave a comment on either our YouTube videos, give us a follow on Instagram and leave us a comment on one of our many posts there, or get in touch with us on, just slide into our DMs, because we will take any reason to talk about something other than something on channel ABC 7, 9, 10 or SBS.
Oh, yeah. And you can be from anywhere.
And also, give us an idea, because we are wrapping up at the moment, but for this episode anyway, give us an idea what you thought of this episode. If you, at the end of the day, the content that we've spoken about in the 43 episodes leading up to this has always been a vessel so we could get to the point of, or like a driving mechanism so we could get to the point where we could just chat shit on a podcast. It was the focal point for a long time. But if you enjoyed this, where we just talk, which is what we do basically all the time anyway, but if you just like hearing us chat shit, let us know. And if you don't, keep it to yourself. Let us know your opinions, honestly.
Let us know good feedback and good feedback only.
Yes.
Only positive feedback.
Send it through a good filter. And if there's nothing left, don't say anything at all. As me mum always said.
It's just got all the bad words taken out.
As
I
my-
thought this episode was blank. You guys are blank. I always had the positive filter applied to
You guys are the most blanked I've ever blanked.
I think he likes us. Let us know what you thought of the freestyle episode.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts.
If you have made it this far, we do thank you so much for joining us on the air tonight, especially after a week of absenteeism. If you couldn't tell, we're still a little bit under the weather, but like Michael Jordan in his flu game, we come back and we prevail.
I'd say this is prevailing. I feel like I prevailed.
This is not surviving.
This is thriving.
This is thriving.
I've thrived. Have we thrived?
Oh, yeah.
On Super Dries. And on that note, bye-bye.